Continuation of the original text, with profound expansion and applied techniques. The birthday as a mirror, what your relationship to this date reveals about you. Have you ever stopped to think that the way we deal with our birthday is an emotional map? It's not just about cake or gifts, it's about how we see ourselves in the world. While some turn the date into a festival of lights, others see it as a silent reminder of something much greater. And here's the question few ask: what happens when the day that should celebrate your existence becomes just another square on the calendar? 1. The science behind detachment, or is it self-protection? Studies in psychology reveal that indifference to birthdays is linked to two brain mechanisms. The traumatic anniversary effect, when the date was marked by losses, a bereavement, a separation, a disappointment, the brain associates the day with pain and, unconsciously, deactivates the expectation. It's as if the nervous system is saying, if I don't celebrate, I won't relive this. Example: those who lost a father on their birthday may, years later, avoid celebrations without knowing exactly why. The validation paradox: people with high self-demand, such as perfectionists or workaholics, often reject celebrations because, deep down, they feel that they didn't deserve that year. The birthday becomes an internal judgment. Have I done enough? Am I where I'm supposed to be? Key phrase: they don't ignore the date, they postpone it, as if to say, I'll celebrate when I'm ready. But be careful, this is not coldness. It's the brain protecting the heart from an overload that it still doesn't know how to name. 2. The 3 types of non-celebrators, which one is yours? Not everyone who ignores their birthday does so for the same reasons. Please note. Type behavior: what this reveals, phrase they would never say. -. The philosopher: it's just another day. Value processes, not time stamps. See life as a flow, not an event. I look forward to that day. The survivor: avoid the subject, change the topic. Associates the date with unresolved pain, trauma, grief, abandonment. I love it when they surprise me. The self-reliant: I don't need anything. Extreme independence, often growing up learning that dependence equals weakness. Will they remember me? Quick test. If you forget your birthday, you might be a philosopher. If you remember, but pretend you don't, you're probably a survivor. If you cancelled the celebration because it's not worth it, be careful. You may be in self-sufficient mode, and that, in excess, is isolating. 3. The hidden side, when indifference is a cry for attention. Here's the inconvenient truth: sometimes not celebrating is a way of testing who really cares. The mechanism: if I don't do anything, who will remember me? The trap: those who really care celebrate regardless. Those who don't care won't notice. The problem is that, in this game, you always lose. Either you confirm your worst suspicions, no one cares, or you feel guilty for doubting who loves you. Real example. A 32-year-old patient confessed, I stopped celebrating 5 years ago. At first, it was to see who cared. Today, I don't even care about that anymore. What started as a social test turned into emotional disconnection. Question for reflection. Have you ever used indifference as a filter for your relationships? 4. Birthday as a ritual of reinvention, why some cultures take it seriously. In cultures such as the Jewish, with bar mitzvah, or Latin, with quinceañeras, birthdays are not just parties, they are rites of passage. Why? Psychologically, they serve to 1. Mark growth: I'm no longer who I was before. In the past. 2. Reaffirm belonging: my people are here for me. 3. Break cycles: this year, I'm going to leave X behind. What happens when we skip this step? Lack of anchoring. Without milestones, life becomes a blur without direction. Difficulty celebrating achievements: if you don't even celebrate the day you were born, how will you celebrate a promotion or a new love? Phrase to save. Birthday is not about the past. It's about giving yourself permission to move forward. 5. How to turn indifference into power, without forcing parties. If you identified with this text, you don't need to become the person who has a 3-day birthday party. But you can relearn how to use the date to your advantage. Some paths. White heavy checkmark personal ritual, without public. Write a letter to yourself with 3 things you learned during the year. Do something symbolic: plant a tree, buy a book you've always wanted, Delete a toxic number from your cell phone. White heavy checkmark, reverse celebration. Instead of receiving, give. Do something good for someone, donate blood, help a shelter. This rewires the brain to associate the date with purpose, not emptiness. White heavy checkmark, the birthday of little things. List 10 tiny moments that made the year worth it: the perfect breakfast, a friend's laugh, the song that saved a bad day. Celebrate the ordinary, that's where life really happens. Practical exercise. Take a piece of paper and answer. If my birthday were a movie, what would the title be this year? And what would I want next year? 6. The question that will change your relationship with this date. Here's the secret no one tells you. The problem is not liking birthdays. It's not having found a way to celebrate that makes sense to you. If you hate parties, don't do it. If you hate congratulations, ask them not to sing. If you don't want gifts, say, "This year, give me a hug or a story you remember with me." The revolution is in. 1. Stop following other people's scripts. Everyone does it, so I have to do it too. 2. Create your own ritual, even if it's just you, a cup of tea and 10 minutes of grateful silence. 7. For those who love someone who don't care about their birthday. If you're on the other side, you want to celebrate, but your partner, friend, family member avoids the topic, here's the manual. No entry sign. Don't blame. You don't even like your own birthday? How sad. This only increases resistance. Forcing surprises. For a survivor or self-reliant, this can be invasive. White heavy checkmark. Do. Ask without judgment, what would you like this day to be like? Can I help you create that? Offer alternatives. If you don't want to party, how about we do something just the two of us? Or would you prefer if we didn't even talk about it? Celebrate their way. If the person likes silence, take a book or a ticket to a place they love. If you like action, propose a trip or a physical activity. Magic phrase. It's not about what I want to do for you, it's about what you need that day. 8. The great paradox. Why those who don't care about birthdays are often the most sensitive. Here's the irony. The people who pretend not to care are often the ones who feel the most deeply. They don't ignore the date, they load it with meaning. They are not cold, they are intense, and therefore protect themselves. They don't reject affection, they test whether it is true. If this is you, know. Your indifference is not a lack of emotion. It's such a huge emotion that you still haven't found the words for it. 9. The last thought. What would your birthday say about you? Imagine that your birthday is a character. What would he be like? A ghost. It appears, but you pretend not to see it. A judge. Always reminds you of what you didn't achieve. A friend. Hugs you and says, "You've come this far. This is already incredible." The truth is, your birthday is not about the day you were born. It's about what you choose to do with the life you've gained since then. There. And if today you decided to read this text this far, you are already celebrating without knowing it. Because seeking understanding is the most intimate party there is. 10. Your invitation to the next step. If this text resonated with you, here are 3 ways. 1. Comment below. What is your relationship with birthdays? Do you ignore it, celebrate it, or something in between? Your story might help someone. 2. Try a ritual. Choose an idea from this text and put it into practice this year. Then come back here and tell us how it went. 3. Share with those who need to hear that not celebrating is not wrong, but finding a way to honor your own life is necessary. And remember, the best gift you can give yourself isn't in a box. It's permission to be exactly who you are, even if that means not blowing out candles. Until the next reflection. And if today is your birthday, happy day to exist, in the way that makes sense to you. Party Popper. P.S. If you made it this far, leave a red heart hash in the comments. It's subtle, but it tells me that this text mattered. The birthday no one sees, and why it's the most important. Have you ever stopped to think that the most transformative birthday of your life may have gone unnoticed? I'm not talking about the date on the calendar. I'm talking about that invisible moment when you, without realizing it, stopped being who you were and started becoming who you are. It could have been on any given Tuesday, at 3 p.m., when you decided not to answer that toxic call for the first time. He looked in the mirror and recognized his own voice behind the fear. He chose to remain silent instead of filling the void with words that meant nothing. These are the secret birthdays, the days when you're born again, with no candles, no congratulations, no Instagram post. Just you and life, in silent collusion, signing a new contract. The invisible mathematics of your existence. Society taught you to count years in 365 days. But the truth is that we don't age in blocks, we age in layers. Each of them has an expiration date. The I need to please layer, it expired when you said no for the first time without justifying it. The layer of I don't deserve it, it tore away the day you took up space without asking for permission. The one day I layer, it burned when you started, even though it was shaking. These are the real milestones of your life. And the most ironic. Nobody congratulates you on them. There's no cake, there's no gifts, there's no reminders on your cell phone. Just you, alone with your courage, knowing that something inside you has woken up for good. The birthday paradox. Why do we celebrate the wrong day? Think about it. Do you celebrate the day you were born or the day you started living? Because there is a huge difference between exist, breathe, meet deadlines, follow the script. Live, choose, make mistakes, reinvent yourself, burn the instructions. The first birthday that really mattered wasn't the one where you got a wristwatch. It was the one where you stopped looking at the time and decided that time, after all, belongs to you. The ritual you didn't know you needed. If traditional birthdays don't make sense to you, invent your own. Here are 3 ways to celebrate the milestones that matter. No candles, no pressure. 1. The birthday of little deaths. When? The day you buried a habit, a fear, or a version of yourself that no longer served you. How? Write down what you left behind on a sheet of paper and burn it, metaphorically or for real. Drink something hot and watch your own rebirth. 2. The birthday of silences. When? The day you chose emptiness over noise, when you turned off notifications, cancelled a plan out of exhaustion, or simply got quiet with yourself. How? Light a candle, put on some instrumental music and thank solitude for being your best teacher. 3. The dirty hands birthday. When? On the day where you did something imperfect, but you did it, whether it was a project, an apology, or a risk that went wrong. How? By paint, paper, or clay. Get your hands dirty by creating something without purpose. This is celebrating life, without manuals, without notes, without applause. The question you should ask today, instead of how old are you? How many times were you born? Because age is not measured in years. Measured in times you were surprised by yourself. Fears that turned into courage. Silences that were louder than screams. Adios that were acts of self-love. If today is your official birthday, congratulations on the date. But if today is just another day, congratulations on being alive, because being alive, truly, is the rarest celebration there is. Your invitation to the quiet revolution. This text does not end here. It ends with you. 1. Reply in the comments. What was your most important invisible birthday? That moment when you changed without anyone noticing? Your story could be the push someone needs to start their own revolution. 2. Create your ritual. Choose one of the ideas above, or invent your own, and mark it on your calendar as a sacred commitment. Then come back here and tell us, how did you feel? 3. Share with those who need to hear that. Not celebrating is not a lack of gratitude. Celebrating your way is not selfish. Life is not a straight line, it is a collection of rebirths. The last, and most important, thing. If you've made it this far, you're already celebrating. Because reading until the end is an act of resistance in a world that wants everything quick, shallow and disposable. You chose depth. And that, my dear, is quite a birthday. So, happy day to exist, today and always, the way only you know how. Leave a red heart hash below if this text made you rethink what really matters. It's subtle, but it tells me it was worth writing. Until the next reflection. Or, who knows, until your next birth. Seedling. The invisible birthday revolution, when silence is the greatest celebration. Have you ever stopped to think that the most important day of your life might not be on the calendar? That maybe, instead of candles and congratulations, your true birth happens when you decide to reinvent yourself without fuss, without posts, without the obligation to smile for a photo that no one will remember in a year. This is not indifference. It's a form of magic. 1. The birthday no one sees, but that changes everything. Think of a time when you broke a cycle without warning. The day he stopped justifying his existence to people who didn't deserve explanations. The night he put aside the mask of everything's fine and admitted, for the first time, that he wasn't fine and that was also human. The morning you chose conscious solitude instead of the company that drains your energy. These are your invisible birthdays. And they are much more powerful than any three-tiered cake, because they don't depend on anyone but you. Respond in the comments. What was yours? I want to know. Not out of curiosity, but because these stories are the fuel that someone out there needs to take the first step. 2. The paradox of celebration. Why do we celebrate what does not belong to us? Society has taught us that a birthday is synonymous with mandatory happiness. But what if, for you, the date only brings back memories of those who are no longer here? Or the pressure of being grateful for a year that was actually a minefield? Here's the truth no one talks about. Not celebrating is not ingratitude. It's self-knowledge. Ignoring the date is not bitterness. It's self-preservation. Celebrating in your own way, even if it is in silence, is not selfish. It is sovereignty. Share this excerpt with that friend who always feels guilty for not partying properly. Sometimes we just need permission to be who we are. 3. The secret ritual. How to celebrate what really matters. If traditional birthdays don't make sense to you, invent your own. Some real examples of people who rewrote the rules. The woman who exchanged the cake for a letter. Every year, on the day of her birth, she writes to herself, "What have I learned? What do I still need to let go of?" And burn the letter from the previous year. Pure symbolism. The man who plants a tree. Instead of gifts, he asks friends to donate seedlings. His birthday is a forest that grows with him. The person who does a digital detox. 24 hours without social media, just to hear your own voice again. Your challenge. Choose a symbolic action, it can be anything, a swim in the sea, a phone call that you've been putting off for months, a list of things you will no longer tolerate, and schedule it in your calendar as a sacred commitment. Then come back here and tell us, how did you feel? I read all the comments. Yes, even the anonymous ones. 4. Emotional mathematics. Why one day not equal to 365 possibilities? We have been conditioned to think that a single day defines the value of a year. But life is not a linear equation. It's a puzzle of rebirths, where broken window equals lesson in resilience. Sleepless night crying equals emotional cleansing. Uncomfortable silence equals space to hear yourself. Radical exercise. Take a paper and write down. 1. A pain that became strength. 2. A fear that turned into courage. 3. A loss that made room for something new. This is your party. And it happens every day, not just when Facebook reminds you. Leave a red heart hash if you've experienced one of these renaissances without realizing it. Sometimes, we just need a mirror to see our own revolution. 5. The ultimate truth, that you already know, but forget. You don't need confetti to be extraordinary. It doesn't need congratulations to be valid. You don't need a date on the calendar to start again. Because your real birthday is today. And now. It's every time you choose not to betray yourself. And if no one told you this today, congratulations for existing. Not for the day he was born, but for all the days he decided not to give up on himself. Fire to reflect. What would you be celebrating today if you weren't afraid of other people's judgment? What invisible birthday are you postponing? Comment, share, save this text for when you need to remember. You are the only person who needs to approve your own life. Until the next reflection, or, who knows, until your next birth. Seedling. P.S. If this text touched you, save it to your favorites. Sometimes, we need to reread certain truths until they sink in for good.